Let's get started with our first news. Daniel Cormier just dropped two major updates. First, he revealed the UFC actually wanted to book Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Second, he said the fight that absolutely needs to happen is Ilia versus Arman. And now everything lines up with new reports coming out of Spanish media. Ilia is officially out of the running for the UFC's Paramount debut. And according to longtime Spanish journalist Alvaro Colmano, the entire roadmap for El Matador has shifted. He said private situations came up behind the scenes, and whatever unfolds at lightweight will surprise people. Colmano explained that Ilia is not fighting in January, and February is also very unlikely. His expectation is a spring return. And with that timeline, the only matchup that actually makes sense is Ilia versus Arman, a fight multiple sources have already hinted at. The UFC still wants that matchup, just not at the start of the year. Rumors even popped up suggesting Ilia might vacate the belt, but nothing concrete supports that idea. For now, all signs still point toward Ilia versus Arman, just pushed back further than anyone expected. On their latest episode, Bisping and Paul Felder broke down the lightweight title picture. They noted that Paddy wants a shot, Justin wants a shot, and Arman wants a shot. The real question is where Ilia stands in all this. They mentioned earlier comments claiming he'd rather vacate than defend against Arman. But as Bisping said, once you're the champ, you have an obligation to defend against the best. Bisping said he saw something suggesting Ilia wants to fight Paddy. He admitted it's not the matchup that should happen based on merit or rankings, and most fans would agree. But he also said he'd still love to watch it. However, if Ilia beats Paddy, then he has to fight Arman next. Move on to another news. Jon Jones responded to Daniel Cormier's recent comments with a message that felt less like a clapback and more like a calm, centered reminder of who he wants to be right now. Early this morning, Jones went on Instagram and shared a Thanksgiving message that instantly caught attention. Not because he addressed the drama directly, but because he chose a completely different tone. Instead of firing back or escalating anything, he focused on kindness, empathy, and positivity, which made the response stand out even more. Jones looked into the camera with Dutch beside him, and he started by acknowledging people who might be spending Thanksgiving alone, people who may not have their families or their closest friends around them. He said he wanted to take a moment to wish those people a happy Thanksgiving, sending good energy their way. His message wasn't rushed, it wasn't defensive, it was measured, steady, and honestly felt sincere. He reminded viewers that if no one told them they were loved today, he wanted them to know that he loves them. Then he pointed to Dutch, adding that Dutch loves them too. Dutch gave a nod, and Jones echoed, "That's right," reinforcing the warmth of the moment. What made the message land even harder was how unexpected it was. With everything going on around his rivalry with Cormier, fans might have expected a sharp response, maybe even a jab. Instead, Jones chose peace. He chose gratitude. He chose to deliver a message that had nothing to do with conflict and everything to do with lifting people up. He closed by wishing everyone a blessed day, repeating that he and Dutch loved them, and once again wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. In a sport built on intensity and rivalry, this softer, calmer tone from Jones was a reminder that sometimes the most powerful response is choosing not to escalate, but to send out love instead. Move on to another news. With UFC 323 just around the corner, a big update has shaken the roster. The UFC has officially released a fighter following the events of UFC Qatar, and the situation has sparked a lot of discussion. Yesterday, it was revealed that Marek Bilo has been let go, and the news surfaced after he shared a few interesting details on his social media. His manager, Bartosz Barkiak, also stepped in to clarify what happened, explaining that the release came after Bilo declined a quick turnaround fight for UFC 324. For anyone who might have missed his last appearance, Bilo fought Denzel Freeman this past weekend in Qatar, where he suffered a loss. According to his manager, the UFC hoped to get him right back into the cage only 2 weeks later, pushing for another matchup in an attempt to keep the momentum moving. However, Bilo declined the offer, and the reason he provided was linked to an injury he sustained during his fight in Qatar. He reportedly told the promotion he wasn't physically able to compete that soon, and because of that refusal, the UFC made the decision to cut him from the roster. Now, it's important to highlight that what we're hearing at the moment is coming solely from the fighter's camp. This is their account of the situation, and as always in the fight game, there may be more layers to the story. Sometimes matchups fall apart due to timing, sometimes due to health, and sometimes due to contract decisions behind the scenes. The UFC hasn't issued an official statement detailing their side of the decision, so the only narrative available right now is the one from Bulo and his manager. Still, the news has caught some fans off guard, especially considering that the reported cause was simply declining a fight while injured. Situations like this highlight just how unforgiving the sport can be. The turnaround expectations, the pressure to stay active, and the risk of losing your spot if you can't compete at the pace the promotion wants. These are realities fighters deal with every day. Whether more details come out or not, this release serves as another reminder that the UFC roster is constantly shifting and the margins are always thin. For now, Bulo's chapter in the promotion comes to an end, and fans will have to wait and see whether he finds his way back in the future or takes his career in a different direction. Move on to another news. Ilia has revealed some truly difficult and emotional news, and it adds important context to everything that has been happening around the featherweight and lightweight divisions. As Dana White mentioned earlier, Ilia is currently dealing with personal matters, and now we finally have his own words confirming the situation. Just before the official announcement came out, Ilia posted a message explaining exactly why he won't be competing anytime soon. And the tone of his statement made it clear that this is something very serious. Ilia wrote that he will not be fighting in the first quarter of next year. He shared that he's going through a difficult moment in his personal life, one that requires his full attention. Instead of pushing himself into training camps, media obligations, weight cuts, and everything that comes with defending or pursuing a title, he has decided to step back and focus on his children. He made it clear that his priority right now is to resolve the situation affecting his family as quickly as possible. For someone who has been so active, ambitious, and vocal about his career, this was a rare moment of vulnerability, but also a reminder that fighters are human beings outside the cage. Ilia also emphasized that he does not want to hold up the division. He understands the responsibility that comes with being at the top and knows how impatient contenders can get while waiting for opportunities. So instead of delaying matchups or creating uncertainty, he stated that the UFC should move forward and make whatever fights are necessary. He promised that as soon as his personal matters are handled and he feels ready to return, he will notify the promotion immediately. That clarity, along with the honesty in his message, earned him a wave of respect from fans and fellow fighters alike. This update not only explains why Ilia has stepped away temporarily, but also adds perspective to all the recent rumors surrounding him, from timeline confusion to speculation about potential matchups. Hearing it directly from him removes the noise and paints a clearer picture. It's a reminder that even top athletes carry heavy personal burdens at times, and stepping back can sometimes be the strongest decision they make. For now, Ilia's focus is on family, on peace, and on getting things resolved. When he returns, it will be on his terms. With a clear mind and full commitment. Move on to another news. Max Holloway has now reacted to Ilia's emotional announcement, and his response added another layer of respect and humanity to a situation that has nothing to do with rankings, belts, or fight hype. Holloway wrote a message that immediately resonated with fans because it came from a place of deep personal understanding. He said, "Sorry to hear, champ. If it's what I'm hearing it is, I know the struggle firsthand, trying to fight while protecting your kids. Hope all goes well." Those words carried weight, not just because they came from Holloway, but because anyone who knows his history understands he has faced his own share of personal challenges while trying to maintain a career at the highest level. Holloway didn't try to pry or ask Ilia for details. Instead, he simply showed empathy, acknowledging that behind every fighter's public persona, there's a life filled with real responsibilities, real emotions, and sometimes real pain. The phrase, "I know the struggle firsthand," hinted at shared experiences, shared anxiety, and shared pressure. Two men who have both dealt with family challenges while the world watches them perform under the brightest lights. Holloway's message was calm, supportive, and respectful, the type of response that reminds people why he's considered one of the class acts of the sport. Ilia didn't stay silent. He responded quickly and with sincerity, writing, "Thanks for the support, brother. All the best for you and your family." Even in the middle of his own difficult moment, he made sure to send gratitude back Holloway's way. showing appreciation not just for the message, but for the understanding behind it. In that brief reply, Ilia displayed the same humility and respect that fans have grown to admire throughout his rise. This exchange may have been short, but it captured something bigger than fight news. It showed two elite athletes putting aside competition and titles to acknowledge that family matters, that protecting your loved ones matters, and that sometimes stepping away from the sport is the only choice when life calls for your full attention. Moments like these highlight the humanity behind the headlines. Fighters aren't just fighters. They're parents, they're partners, and they're individuals dealing with battles most people never see. Max's message and Ilia's response became a reminder that respect doesn't vanish just because two men might fight one day. Sometimes, the strongest connections between fighters happen when they're not throwing punches, but when they're offering support, compassion, and understanding in the moments that truly count. Move on to another news. A bombshell has just dropped out of Russian media, and it's already shaking up the lightweight conversation. Journalist Osenbek Badai released a teaser for his upcoming interview with Arman, and in that short clip, Arman confirmed something no one knew until now. Just hours after UFC Qatar ended, he got into an altercation with Patty Pimblett inside the same building where fighters and teams were moving around after the event, most likely the Fighter Hotel. According to Arman, this wasn't some subtle exchange or a quick stare down. He said it clearly. It didn't turn into a physical fight, but it absolutely escalated into a heated back and forth. The energy was tense, and both sides were locked in verbally. This all happened on the same night Arman submitted Dan Hooker, a win that immediately reshaped the lightweight title picture and put him right at the top of the contender line. The timing made the run-in even more explosive, considering Arman's stock had never been higher. Meanwhile, Patty Pimblett seems to be on a very different path. All signs now point to him moving toward a fight with Justin Gaethje. Multiple sources are reporting that the UFC is working behind the scenes to line up Arman versus Ilia for the next lightweight title fight. Arman confirmed this himself in the interview preview, saying that the promotion has already told him the plan. He also claimed the UFC is frustrated with Gaethje demanding a title shot and hinting at retirement if he doesn't get what he wants. That added a whole new wrinkle to the division's already messy situation. For months, lightweight has felt completely stuck, with big names waiting around or refusing certain matchups. But if Arman versus Ilia gets booked, and if Patty versus Gaethje comes together at the same time, the top five finally opens up. Momentum returns, contenders move, and the division gets the shakeup fans have been waiting for. Arman's encounter with Patty adds even more fuel to everything that's happening. Their brief confrontation came at a moment when emotions were high, futures were shifting, and every fighter was staking their claim. Arman made it clear that nothing exploded physically, but the tension between them was real. With title plans forming and rivalries heating up, his comments hint at a division ready to burst back into action. Move on to another news. Renato Moicano has responded to Dan Hooker's latest call-out, and his reaction was exactly what fans expect from him. Honest, sharp, and delivered with that classic Moicano humor. For anyone who missed it, Hooker said after his fight that he wants Moicano next, and he put it in the simplest, most brutal way possible. He said both of them suck, so they might as well fight each other. Moicano didn't take offense at all. In fact, he laughed and said it was a funny call-out, especially because Hooker claimed that Hunter Campbell called to check if he was okay, and Hooker's first response was, "Hey, Mo sucks." Moicano said if he were in Hooker's position, he probably would have said the same thing. He even agreed with part of it, joking that he does suck. Hooker sucks. But the difference is that Hooker is way, way worse. He broke it down in classic Moicano fashion, saying Hooker has no ground game, no knockout power, no wrestling, and that all of this makes Hooker the weaker fighter between them. But even though he likes the idea of the matchup and believes fans would enjoy seeing the two veterans scrap it out, Moicano doesn't think the UFC will book the fight. He said that realistically, the promotion is probably looking to pair Hooker with younger contenders who need a name to break into the rankings. In his words, he and Hooker are both old, and the UFC might prefer to use Hooker as a stepping stone for rising prospects instead of matching two established veterans who have already been through wars. Moicano also pointed out that Hooker is currently one of the easiest paths into the top of the rankings. With him sitting there as an accessible, beatable name, Moicano believes the UFC will take advantage of that and position him against someone on the rise. Moicano even predicted the matchup he thinks the UFC will make: BSD versus Dan Hooker. To him, that's the fight that makes the most sense from the promotion's perspective. So while Moicano enjoyed the call-out and would gladly take the fight, he's fully aware of how the business works. He'd say yes in a heartbeat, but he's not expecting the UFC to make it happen.